As you know, I was with the Y for 43 years, always doing work, reaching out into the community. I have, my 4 kids, my three daughter-in-laws, and my daughter, and all my grandkids. And the reason I say that is that they're all in that kind of business working in the community. I think my wife and I committed that as well. As an example, I have one works for the Y here, one's vice president of the Y in South Bend, my son's a school principal, my daughter's a social worker. That's what we do. And my kids, as we were talking about it, as I decided it was time to leave the Y, we have a new CEO and worked for the foundation for a couple of years. It was time to go out and do other things, and my kids all said, well, that's not all for you. And leadership is something you demonstrate and not something you talk about. Values are something you exhibit, not something you just talk about. So it was a matter of what's next. This community has been very, very good to me and my family. It's meant a lot to us. We, a number of years ago, as an example, we decided when the kids, this is about 15 years ago, the kids were getting bigger and we built a new house, and a lot of people were telling us we need to move to Bettendorf or move somewhere else, and we decided by conscious decision, Davenport is where we live, and we wanted our kids to go to West High School, and so we built a house on West Central Park over there on Crystal Creek and near West High School. So, and all of our kids have gone through, most of them went through Adams, Williams, and West. My daughter went to Wilson, Williams, and West, and then gone on to college. They all now fortunately have their college degrees. They have gone, a couple of them have moved away and come back. As I discussion with them over their careers, I want a community that not only they want to come back to and other people want to come back to, but people want to make this as their choice. Other kids that are going to explore that they want to be able to go somewhere, why not pick here? Why have to go to a Chicago or Minneapolis or Des Moines? Why not come here? So that was initially part of it. My campaign logo is a bridge with 10 stars, and the 10 stars are for my 10 grandkids, and the bridge is, I built my whole career on bridging relationships. When I first came, the Y was struggling, and I think the thing that I like best about it is people said that, well, you're never going to get something done with the schools, you're never going to get something done with the hospital, you're not going to with cities, and we built the 2 Ys with the high schools, we built the Y with Genesis, we built a Y in Macokota, and I think that's what I've done, is bringing people together, finding shared interest and collaboration, and getting things done that people thought weren't possible to get done. And one thing, I'm glad Brian's here, because he's heard a lot of this before, and I like that because one of my mottos that I live my life by, and I know it's not original, I'm not sure where I got it, but if you always tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said. So, and I built my whole life on that as well. So I don't go to any meetings with any notes or anything, because I'm going to give you what I've got, and it's going to be the same no matter where I'm at and who I'm talking to. And I think that's important about building relationships. A lot of things that we've been able to do, and I've been able to do in the community, came about when people said, well, I'm not sure if that's possible. And it's an example, it's possible because if you bring people together, when I talk to all of you, it's not the people at the times, it's Brian, or it's Jan, or it's John, whatever it is. And I've done that with all the folks involved as well. And as I think one of the reasons that why now for me to run for mayor, that was a long prelude. But one, I still have a lot to give. I have a lot of energy. I'm actually in better health and fitness level than I was probably 20 years ago. And I'm ready to do more, and I owe this community a lot, and I think it's a matter of my personal philosophy from a religious perspective, I guess, is it's love God, love your neighbor, and serve. And it's a package deal. You don't just talk about it, yes, but you got to act it out and put that into action, and that's what I've tried to do. I've sensed some of there's nationally, I think locally as well, regionally, there's a tendency to divide and fight about things. Let's look at, well, they believe this and we believe that, so let's fight about it, who's the right position. I just don't take that philosophy. I found that if I bring people together and find common interest and shared interest, you can build upon that and get things done that many times you couldn't do before. And I just remember at that point, the superintendent, when we got together, we talked about what we both believed in for our kids and our families and our community. And we said, you know, is this the right thing? And we both agreed, shook hands, and said the rest is details, and we worked all that out. And I think there's a tendency to come in on the details and fight about it, in many cases never get to the point and never get anything accomplished. So I built my career on that, I built my lifestyle on that. And also, you know, one of the things that I say this, I've never talked about these things before, because it's really not been part of the issue, but trying to represent to a group of people that don't know me a little bit more who I am. My wife and I have always had extra kids living with us, as an example, because it's really helping with an immediate obstacle to reach their full potential. Some kids need a place to sleep, some kids may need somebody watching them with some food or a pair of shoes or whatever it is, or a place to stay. We've had kids live with us up to 2 years, who, and a couple of the ones that are you would never believe would have, but have gotten college degrees and gone on and been successful. They just needed something at that point. I think that's what a community sometimes needs, is just something at that point, a bit of care and inclusiveness. And inclusiveness is more than diversity. Diversity is we're going to let people of diverse cultures be involved, but inclusiveness brings people together and finds shared interest and finds things that we believe in while respecting that. We have 4 Ethiopian American grandchildren, 2 of my son's adopted kids from Africa, and we celebrate that culture because it's important to bring that as part of the overall picture. But there's a lot of that. It's not a matter of trying to disseminate to a point where, or assimilate, I mean, to a point where we forget all of those things. It's celebrating those things. And we live in Davenport, and the kids went to West High School because our diversity in this community is a strength of our community. And I wanted to make sure that we take part of that. Maybe that's one of the representations of why my kids and our family do what we do. We think everybody is worthwhile. But I've sensed both nationally, regionally, nationally, locally, a lot of division and fighting about things. And I think that's not the way to go in the future. Not only amongst some key issues, and you'll probably ask questions about those issues, but some key issues that came up that actually divided people. I think that's between different cities, within the Quad Cities. I think those initiatives, there are other ways of handling things, and my style of leadership, from a servant leadership style, addresses those by bringing people together and finding solutions.